Hello and welcome back to Niche Tea, where we talk about drama happening in communities you may not be a part of. In the interest of getting this done, I'm going to just go ahead and film it in pieces throughout the day when I have time, because finding a solid block of time is impossible lately. So if outfit, hair, position change throughout, that's why. Last time we talked about the World Championship cheating scandal that rocked the Conkers community, predominantly in England and Ireland. Today we're going to move over to the Crochet community and talk about the 6-day star blanket drama. Starting at the tippy top very quickly, crocheting, for those who may not be familiar, is a type of needlework that is used with yarn to create things, usually things like blankets or sweaters. Crochet is a similar type of activity as knitting. There's obviously differences in you use 2 knitting needles versus 1 crochet hook. They make different types of stitches, but generally it's the same sphere of thing you're doing. For both knitting and crochet, you traditionally use what's called a pattern when you make something. That's basically just a set of written instructions that tells you exactly what to stitch in what order, where, etc. to make the thing you're looking to make. You can think of a pattern kind of like a cooking recipe, like it's the instructions to get to the thing, and theoretically anyone should be able to read those instructions and then do the thing. Patterns are just more intricate and detailed, and those details are very important. And if you get it wrong, you might have to undo the whole thing. Now, this whole situation centers on a particular person who goes by the name Betty McKnit. Betty herself is an avid crocheter and has made an entire business out of providing support, materials, things to help people learn to crochet and advance their crochet skills. Betty has a website where she hosts patterns. It also links to her YouTube channel where she posts content that's like tutorials. And her website also links out to a number of different community support pages on Facebook. Some are project specific for people who are actively in the middle of the project, and then some are more general. Branding around all of Betty's stuff is the 6-day whatever. So the idea is whatever it is, the pattern is meant to be done over 6 days. What kicked this off is that recently on TikTok, the 6-day star blanket challenge, like can you do it in 6 days, went a little bit viral, and a lot of people really wanted to try it because that particular pattern is very popular. That then brings us to the other person involved in this, who was formerly known as KnottyBree on TikTok. Her account is now gone. Quick aside here, I didn't have a chance to watch any of Bree's videos that she made surrounding this whole thing while her account was still active. By the time I got there, it was unfortunately gone. I've been able to put together at least the relevant key core things that happened, and I feel pretty confident in them. But I want to call that out up front. I have not watched these myself. I did vet them to the best of my ability. I want to give a special shout out to a creator named Jada, who had some very informative videos on the topic. And a special thanks to my mutual Googe, who was deep into this and able to give me a lot of good screenshots and all other kinds of stuff, and actually attempted the pattern. So had some really good insight. But if I couldn't properly vet it, I didn't include it. So keeping to the core event. So what happened? Well, Bree, an avid crocheter as well, decided to go ahead and do the 6-day star blanket challenge and then posted a video about it. In that video, she mentioned that she had a pretty difficult time with the pattern, but also mentioned that she had a specific kind of learning disability that might have impacted it, at least from her perspective. And she goes on to say that she rewrote the pattern on her own to make it easier for her to follow, and she said that really helped. Turns out a lot of people were having trouble with this pattern, and people started coming into Bree's comments saying like, actually, could you share your rewrite with me? That would be really helpful. Hearing this, Bree then ended up putting her revised pattern into a Google Doc, very explicitly saying like, this is Betty McKnit's. Make it clear that she wasn't, trying to steal or make money or do anything like that. And then gave the link to the Google Doc out to anybody who needed it. I'm fairly confident it was also posted on Reddit as just a, hey, if anybody needed this, here it is. That thread is no longer up, but I found another thread where Bree comments and basically says like, I'm the one who made the pattern, like, let me know if you want it. And there's genuinely like kind of a shocking number of people underneath there asking for the pattern, like so many people. It was definitely getting a lot of traction. However, after a fairly short amount of time, I don't know exactly how much it was, Bree posts a post that says, hey, unfortunately, Betty reached out to me and said that my Google Doc is violating copyright, so I have to take it down. And this really upset people. No one's really saying exactly why, but a lot of people think that this pattern, as it's written on Betty's website, is not well written. It's not clear. I'm not entirely sure why. I know some of it has to do with quite literally the words as written are confusing, but on top of that, one thing that I do know is that part of the issue is that the website is littered with ads. I looked at it on my phone, and I'll play it here so you can see like just the raucous amount of ads, which is clearly how Betty's making money from this pattern. Now, the trade-off there is that the ads are why it's free on the website, right? So people started bringing up that, you know, Betty gives you the option on that page to buy a PDF of the pattern written cleanly for like $5 or $6. But a big subset of the people who didn't feel that they could literally finish this pattern on the website as it was were people with disabilities of different kinds. So for them, it feels like a tax, you know, that they have to pay to get a usable version of something that other people can theoretically use for free. I'm fairly confident, due to multiple accounts, that Bree claimed that she did send her revised version of the pattern over to Betty so that Betty could put that on the website instead, I guess. That Bree then claimed that Betty said no to using that version on the website. I keep saying Bree claimed, and I haven't said anything about Betty because it's important to note that Betty has not, throughout any of this to this exact moment, said a single thing about this situation, publicly anyway, which I think is smart, but take to mean what you will. So at that point, there was a very big wave of kind of hate and anger toward Betty McNitt, saying that, you know, she doesn't care about accessibility and she's punishing disabled people, etc. But also that she's running a scam because she's forcing people to come where she has ads or to her YouTube, which is monetized or whatever. And that's the reason she doesn't want the Google Doc up. Saying that she's lying about the copyright thing because you can't copyright something as simple as a star blanket. It's, you know, those have been made for decades. To even just not liking her personality or her as a person. I've never interacted with her myself. I can't find any negative interaction account other than like the occasional Reddit thread, like people just kind of commenting, oh yeah, she was rude to me too, but it's really vague. The way it's described, like I never hear she cursed me out. It's like she's rude, sour, crotchety, etc. To me, just societally and like knowing she's a little bit on the older side, that could mean that she's mean, or that could mean that she's just kind of direct and blunt and maybe has like a flat affect in the way she speaks. So this hate wave just kind of keeps picking up traction and getting bigger. As it picks up more momentum and more people get involved, it turns back around in Betty's favor. Points brought up in her defense are, one, relating to the copyright. It's not that she has a copyright claim over star blankets, it's that exact pattern. And the fixed version of that is the same thing, just rewritten. So for example, that's the same as if I found a story I really liked online and then I translated it into another language and reposted it. Guess what? That's a copyright violation. I'm going to add something to that people haven't brought up yet that I've seen. You have to defend your copyright every time, or as many times as you see it, to keep it. Betty didn't pursue what Bree did, and then a way bigger person, company, whatever, came and did the same thing, and Betty tried to take them to court over it. A judge would look at this other instance because they would bring it up. They'd be like, well, she didn't care when this person did it. And literally that would make her life harder and might prevent her from stopping the other people from using it. On the accessibility front, the argument was brought up that there is no one like accessible version of the pattern. What everyone needs is completely different, and she shouldn't be expected to have every different type of version of that available on her already free pattern. As far as it being a scam, I'm going to take that one. It is in fact a business. Putting content on YouTube and your own website and making money off of that is not a scam. And as far as personality, people have been going back and forth. Some people love her, so it seems to be based on individual experience. All in all, I feel like everyone kind of lost. Betty has gotten a ton of hate, though has still made no comment. Bree also got a big backlash, deleted her TikTok profile. For what it's worth, I do think Bree at her core was trying to do a good thing, even if some of her statements got a little snarky in there. To people who may be having trouble with things as they're written online, I want to hugely recommend, if you have Apple devices, using reader mode. It makes a huge difference. It doesn't prevent the ads from loading in the background, so they still make money. There are also numerous web extensions for people who aren't using Apple products. I know that's existed for years, but I always forget that it's there, so even if it can help a few people, yay.